parts, the replacement parts for the things that are broke. Warning. Thank you for tuning in today. Today is also my favorite day. We get to play with toys. Scale things, yes. So have you had a chance to check out the Redcat Racing Winona Rider? Wendigo? Have you checked it out yet? It is a pretty cool vehicle in my opinion, although last time I did break some parts. You know, when you run into a tree, it is to be expected. But on the upside, $5 part from Redcat, part number 11322, front shock towers. That'll get us running again. So today what we're gonna do is start out by fixing this part that I broke, and then we are going to install some real electronics for rock racers, which is the Castle Creations Mamba X and the Polar Pro 4100R. And this is a big old motor. Big old censored 4-pole motor. Yes. Oh yeah, and I also have a 5mm pinion. You will need a 5mm bore pinion to change over to a motor like this because it has a 5mm shaft. Are your body posts, body clips, this hard to get off? Do you install anything on your body clips to make them easier to remove? I threatened that I was last time and I forgot. Yeah! There we go. As you can see, we had a lot of fun last time. And besides, you know, me running into a tree at full blast, we had no problems. Well, first off, I'm gonna see if our motor will fit. I have heard that it will. Oh yeah, no problem, lots of room in there. So for the shock tower, here we go. Maybe you can see it bolts in right in here. So I should be able to take off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish, 7, 8, maybe 7 or 8 bolts and replace this part. To double check this, I'll look at the part that's going on for replacement. And although this was a very inexpensive plastic $5 part, thanks Redcat for making affordable replacement parts, I hear that they do offer aluminum replacements as well. But as I talked in the last video about, when you replace with aluminum, you don't know what's gonna break next. And more than likely it'd be the bumper mount or the shock tower mount themselves. And so I figured, you know, I'll just replace this with the stock part. You know, and if you didn't want to do all this, honestly, you could probably just maybe drill a piece of aluminum and sister it up on the side. Scab board, do yourself some scab work, and it'd be fine. To make it a little easier, what I'm gonna do first is remove this shock right here. And as you can see, it kind of opens up the side of the vehicle. It's gonna allow us to get to everything much easier. Basically loosen these guys and it should float. Can you see what I'm doing? Let me know at home if you like the angles here. Give us some feedback on our filming. So how's everything in your crazy world today? I'm pretending that everything is normal. Pretending doesn't really help though, unfortunately. But it's a good coping mechanism, right? What kind of coping mechanisms do you have? Is wrenching on rigs a good coping mechanism? I feel that it is. Because what else are you doing with your time right now? Chances are you might not be working, and chances are you might be watching your kids and thinking, wow, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be. Kids are great and all, but when you got them 24/7, it kind of changes things, doesn't it? Today, I am fortunate that my wife is working from home. We have been switching off back and forth with our children duties to realize that we kind of got ourselves into this mess, and having small things interrupt our global supply chain just kind of shines a light on how delicate this whole global economy is right now. All right, so you can kind of see that piece was what broke off. Boop, just boop, right there. And then there's some internal. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I think we might be at 9 or 10. But as I was saying, this little issue that we're having with the virus that has impacted our global supply chains. Everybody's been affected, including us here at Holmes Hobbies. It really does illustrate how delicate that the global supply chain is. And it has me thinking that we should probably work on some more localized supply chains. Fortunately, where we live here in mid-Missouri, there's a lot of farmers markets, there's a lot of agricultural, whatever you want to call them, farms surrounding us, small farms that are a little bit more insulated from all of this. And so, you know, more than likely we'll be fine. More than likely everybody's going to be fine anyway. But I can't help but think a little doom and gloom sometimes. It's the realist in me, knowing that we're going to have some crashbacks. You know, maybe they're going to inject a bunch of money into our local economy, our global economy. But is that really going to fix it? And is this just going to happen again in a few more years? So what I have been personally doing, besides keeping myself busy with toys, is started some chickens. Well, I guess I didn't start them. The hen started them. And we're just raising them in a brooder. Just, you know, have a little something new to do. Maybe a little bit of little eggs to eat. All right, so there's our part that broke. So that's been fun. Raising some chicks. That has been a good time. And I've been gardening, of course. Oh, this unbroken piece isn't going to fit in nearly the same. There we go. Now you can see the broken pieces a little easier. Now it looks like I might have to take a few more screws off because the servo is in the way. All right, so we're at what, 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so now I'm taking the servo off. 12 screws. That our servo is out of the way. Have you had to do this before? I think this is one piece that the Gen 8 shares. You got any tricks for replacing this part? Halfway there. Don't pinch the wires. Aha! There we go. Look at that. So now I just need to remember where all these came out of. So just a little bit of elbow grease. We shall bolt in the sides. Have you ever broke a rig on the first time out? I will admit I was trying to break this rig. I was definitely trying to break this rig. But if you have, what did you break? Was it driver error like me, or was it a problem with the actual rig? While we're talking about rock racers, anybody else like rock racers? Well, that's a nice little change for me. If I was going to think about it, I guess I do have a couple of Yetis still. One's built by UC Fab even. Those are real rock racers. Those are bred to rock race. All right, so we're in the home stretch of reinstalling screws. This actually took a few more minutes than what I anticipated. I thought it'd be maybe 4 screws and done. But no, we were at what, 10, 12? I've already forgotten. So let me know in the comments how many it was. All right, while we're looking through there, might as well check everything over. As expected, our servo horn got a little loose. That's very normal. I'm gonna add a little Loctite. Metal on metal, Loctite, always. And technically, we should be waiting 24 hours for this ion and anaerobic dealy bob to work. But I'm gonna go crawl here in a few minutes. So it's gonna just have to deal with that. And it'll be fine. It'll probably be fine. It's the pan hard mount right now. Gotta put that pan hard back on. All right, so we tightened everything up. We've got Loctite on our servo horn where it goes into the servo. If you are new to the channel and you have not heard that you need to use Loctite for metal to metal, hit the subscribe button. You get that notification icon too. How many things does YouTube have these days for us? Let me know in the comments. The bell, the notification, the subscribe, what do they all mean? Tell me. I don't know. I'm better at building motors than I am being an online guy. Bolting our shock back in, we want to make sure that it's on the same hole as the other side. So next up, as I promised, real electronics for rock racing in this guy. So I'm going to take off this little tower here. I still have the 2 screws removed from this side. Next up, we're taking out the motor. So we're going to have to take off the gear cover first, I'm sure. All right, so we are going to learn a few things. Number 1, I love to take things apart and probably not put them back together. So we're going to take this motor apart. Number 2, 17 tooth pinion is our stock pinion. Yes, that is massive. And it uses a 2mm set screw. I love you, Redcat. I love you for that. That is, yes, love it. Awesome. Yes, lots of Loctite. Usually a good thing. We definitely don't want this motor coming loose. If you have a lot of problems with Loctite, because, you know, we should be Loctiting everything that is metal to metal, then you can use heat. However, in this particular installation, it's going to be really hard to get heat in there. Well, we can't just throw this in the oven. So what you can do is put your soldering iron, that I'm making sure is turned off because don't leave your soldering iron on. You can put the soldering iron into the tip of the screw head, and that'll do. We can count the detents, the natural stopping spots of this, to see how many poles it is, and I won't have to take it apart. I'm probably still going to be tempted to take this thing apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ooh, this might be something funky. Now I have to take it apart. Yes. All right, so there's our stock motor. I can't help myself. I'm going to take it apart. Oh, yeah. Oh, ooh. May not be taking it apart easily. That screw just turned into mush. Oh, no. Oh, well. I'll take it to the bandsaw. That turned from a Phillips head into a cone. Yeah, oh, man. Just for you guys, I'm going to take this guy to a chop saw and I'll just cut it apart. Boy, am I interested to see what's inside, because 12 detent spots means that it probably is a 4-pole 6 slot. That's an interesting one. But yeah, we'll see what's inside. It maybe just has a funky lobe shape. Yes, so we're gonna have to take off the radio box, even though it has external plugs, so that we can remove this ESC. Because the way the plug is, although I could just yank or cut the plug off, I'm gonna be nice to the stock electronics today. To remove your stock ESC, you can probably use one of these. It looks to be servo taped down. Boop! Easy. There we go. So this is a stock ESC. It is a WP10BL60 RTR. So this is the 60 amp speed controller from Hobbywing. Assumably from Hobbywing. So they got little extensions inside here. As you can see, there's our receiver, and then it's got the plugs going in sideways, and then little extensions that go to the side of the box. And that lets us be able to plug in and out without removing the receiver box. It's also another point of failure. More plugs is always more problems. So here is the Mamba X. I have already soldered on an XT60 plug, and I soldered it right here so that I could more easily add in my JST jumper down the road. So my future servo is going to be the SHV 500 version 3, and that is powered directly off of our battery. I don't have that today. I'm not going to install it today. So for now, I just have these solder points hiding, and that'll make it really easy for me to go back. Like I said just a second ago, plugs fail. Plugs fail, switches fail. They really don't like water, and in a rock crawler or rock bouncer, there's so much vibration that these plugs will actually fail, even if you have them hard mounted on the rig. There's not really a spot to hard mount it, so I can tell you that leaving it flopping around will make it fail. So what's the best thing to do? We're gonna take it off, and we are going to solder these together and probably just throw a little bit of insulation over the top. This little adapter is, again, one more point to fail. So I am going to switch out the sensor wire adapter and sensor wire with the one that we make for the Mamba X, which is the Mamba X. We call it an adapter still, but it adapts the Mamba X pin standard to the JST, whatever it is. You can see this, they're completely different plugs, different pitch of pins, different size of pins. These larger ones are a lot more rugged, which, you know, in due time, we'll probably see a new standard for sensor ports in the future. There's a retainer that we take off the Mamba X. Since I need to solder it back together where I cut off the on-off plug, I'll turn on the old soldering iron. And now we can remove this adapter. Be careful of the pin arrangement. The white wire is towards the inside of the controller. You can also look down here and they have a nice little diagram for you. Boop. And the white marked wire does the same thing. There we go. And the last thing is that we will solder this together. All right, so I'm just twisting these wires together. We got a nice on connection all the time. Plug in the battery, vehicle is on. That's how it should be, in my opinion at least. And when it does fail, then your rig won't turn on, or it will be unreliable and it'll turn on and turn off and turn on and turn off. You ever had that happen before to you? If you're a crawler, I almost guarantee it, unless you've been running exclusively my ESCs, because my ESCs are the ones that do not have on-off plugs. And the only reason is because I've been crawling long enough to see so many failures that I know the routine. And I'm just using a little bit of tape. Tape it on there, fold it over like a burrito. Do you know what a burrito is? Is it your favorite Mexican food? I am a fan of enchiladas myself. Although I'll still eat a burrito or a taco if one's in my face. Yeah, we got this place in town. They make the best carnitas burritos. Oh, everything reinstalled. We got our new sensor wire. I hacked off our on-off plug. Good riddance. Now we put a little wire retainer back on. Really cool design by Castle. And I wouldn't suggest Loctite on this. These are so tiny, and it's a little plastic piece. So we can actually crush that we can crush the plastic piece just enough to keep the threads engaged with a little bit of tension on them, and it's not going back out. This is the Polar Pro 540L. It's technically a Polar Pro R version because this is a race version. V2 can, which the V1 or the V2 is going to perform pretty much identical for you in this case, but this is a 4100 kV motor, super fast, and I'm going to install a 14-tooth pinion on it so that our overall gear ratio is about the same. Well, the gear ratio will be lower, but we're using a higher kV motor as opposed to the lower kV, so our wheel speed should be the same. But what we're going to get, better torque at the wheel, better drag brake, better efficiency under any given load at the wheel. So volt up, gear down, or in this case, kV up, gear down, is going to give us maximum performance, and we will see if this rig can handle the maximum performance. Honestly, I'm a little bit worried because there are literally no rigs that are ready to run on the market that can handle a 4100R. So I'm probably going to program it to be a little bit more gentle on the acceleration than just flat out go, go, go. I would normally say metal on metal, use some Loctite, but I actually don't like using Loctite on my motors. Worst thing that you can possibly happen is to have a motor stuck in a rig where you can't get it back out. And I really don't have issue with motors coming loose. If I continuously have an issue with a particular motor coming loose, I will use Loctite, but this is a last resort situation. So this is really the only place that I do not put Loctite into a rig. There we go. A little difficult to see how to line the hole up on this. All right, so we're gonna just not quite snug it down. We want a little bit of easy play so we can set our pinion mesh. And let me make sure these screws aren't too long, actually. This stock motor may have screws that are so freaking long that they would damage our motor, because that actually stopped moving. Oh yeah. All right, very important. Do not use your stock screws to install a 4100R. It will damage it. All right, so we got the new motor installed with proper length screws. I suggest 6mm long M3 screws to install your motor. And pretty much we're just gonna button this up and take her outside. If you do want to see the programming that I do on the Mamba X, we should have a video that drops either right before this video or right after that shows it.